Alright, welcome ladies and gents. Let's review Superman. So this is James Gunn's first entry, kind of technically, into the DCU, the brand new DC universe. Now, of course, he did have The Suicide Squad, and he has since come and done Peacemaker as well. But this is the first movie in a rebooted film franchise, what should become one anyway. And I say film franchise, also a universe. So yeah, this is his first foray into that. This has copped a lot of flack. I myself have made, a lot of coverage of the various ups and downs of this movie. But I can genuinely say I had a good time with it. Genuinely. I had a very, very decent time with this movie. It's certainly not going to be for everyone. And you can see that in the reviews. So there's lots of ups and downs in the reviewing of this film. A lot of people either love it or hate it. Now, I'm not... love it or hate it is obviously, hyperbole. Like, I didn't love it. I thought it was a pretty good film and I laughed out loud at certain moments. And overall, I had a pretty good time with it. But I'm certainly not like a mega fan of it. It was a very good film for what it is, right? It's a superhero film at the end of the day. I personally think that they've kind of died a death a little bit. But this one I enjoyed as a throwaway Superman movie. As most Superman movies kind of should be, I think, actually. So let's take a look, right? Let's review it. Let's talk about it, the ins and outs, the ups, the downs. I want to first address the political narrative surrounding this movie, which James Gunn himself put out there into the world by saying it was a story of an immigrant, which he knew what he was doing, and I think he did it on purpose to get discourse out there. But I also think that that was... ran the risk of potentially damaging the film. This film's not political in any way, shape or form at all. However, there are some geopolitical allegories in this. So there is a country called Boravia and Jaharanpur. Now, these are allegories quite obviously for Ukraine and Russia. Obviously. In terms of the dialogue and things like that. Now, I'm sure there'll be some people that didn't read into that. I myself looked at it and just said, yeah, clearly that is obviously that. But it's not, it's throwaway. It doesn't really matter. So I don't want to say that there's absolutely no politics in this, because I think that that would actually be intellectually dishonest. I think there are some politics in here. But in terms of the wider narrative, there are no politics, right? There is no element of him being an immigrant at all. Him being an alien plays into it, and there is some dumb stuff that they did with the parents, which I'll get to and I have spoken about before. So I think first things first, although I've said first things first already, I think let's talk about the overall story. We come into a fully fledged universe. We are in a brand new world that is established. So you are thrown into it expecting to just pick up with it and run with it. But I actually don't think that that's that bad. There are elements to this, if you were completely unfamiliar with Superman, where his origin is thrown out there. There's some some text on screen. There's some dialogue to the effect as well. And you would know his origin if, by happenstance, you don't know his origin. Which, yeah, there might be some people, obviously. But you are just thrown into a fully functional universe, right? Metahumans have been around for decades. Superman's been around for decades. And we open the film with him losing a battle to the Hammer of Boravia. The opening scene is him falling into the Antarctic. So, just as an FYI, you have seen it. I actually do think because we'd seen it so long ago, I was a bit tired of seeing it, actually. I've seen that sequence play out in pretty much every single trailer. It was the first clip that we saw. It was watching it play out again, yeah, it was a little bit old. But I will say this, the elements that you've seen in the trailer don't make up the majority of the movie. Like, there are a lot of other things going on in the film that you wouldn't have seen. So the marketing alone actually did a pretty okay job all things considered. I think actually it did a pretty decent job of hiding a lot that was in there. Now, what they didn't do a good job of was hiding leaks coming out from test screenings. All the test screening leaks were completely true. Unequivocally, actually. So if you know any of the test screening leaks, they were all true. They're all true. It is what it is. Anyway. Hammer of Baravia. It's a Lex Luthor story versus Superman. There's a big dastardly plan. And Luthor is motivated by jealousy. Just deep jealousy. Now, there was an element of Superman's origin which was changed, which I am going to reveal here. I have since revealed it in another video anyway. But I do think it's important because I need to get into this in terms of the narrative. Lex Luthor manages to break into the Fortress of Solitude, and he decodes the message from Jor-El, okay? And the message that Superman thought he only had half the message. An element of it was corrupted. The engineer decodes the rest of it, and it is a change to Superman's origin. It's a really dumb change, right? Like, it is unequivocally a dumb change. The change is that actually Superman was sent there to rule over the Earthlings because they are confused and they're dumb and they're easily led. And Superman is to take loads of wives, have lots of babies, and spread the Krypton seed around, basically. And he's effectively a Viltrumite, right? Like, James Gunn ripped off a rip-off, or a subversive parody rip-off. And I think that is a pretty dumb origin change. It does lead to some very nice interaction with Superman and his adoptive parents. But I also think that that's unnecessary because you can get the same emotional weight without changing the origin. In fact, you could do all of what the movie suggests without having the origin change. But I have to say that because I do think it's pretty dumb. And I wouldn't be true to myself if I didn't highlight that as something which I do genuinely have a problem with. I think it is really dumb. I don't think it impacts the film at all, though. Just as an FYI, it's just my own personal gripe. I think it's dumb, and I think it's unnecessary. That being said, this is a very touching film. It is all about humanity, and that does play into the part of the origin change. Doesn't need to be done, though, by the way. Whereas Superman always sees the good in everyone. He is a typical goody two-shoes, right? He is just a, shucks, everyone's good, you know. Even the giant kaiju, he doesn't want to kill. He wants to take it to an intergalactic zoo to study it. And yeah, it does go a long way to depicting Superman as the ultimate goody two-shoes, which he is supposed to be. That is what he's supposed to be. The VFX, the CGI, yeah, is a bit weak in parts, actually. These movies generally always have weak CGI. It's not an excuse. I am sick of these movies having weak-ass CGI. Pretty much all of them do now, and I am getting a bit sick of it. But as a whole, as an entry point to a universe, I thought it was actually handled pretty well. The Justice Gang is there. There's an ongoing joke with Guy Gardner, you know, calling it the Justice Gang, but it's not the Justice Gang. No one else voted on it, and sure, fine, whatever. It's funny, I guess. That's not a joke for me. That's clearly a joke for children. And a lot of this stuff are jokes for children, right? A lot of the reviews that were coming out prior to its release, a lot of their statements, I would say, are pretty bang on the money. A lot of them were saying, this is a Saturday morning cartoon. And that can be seen as bad. It can be seen as good. You know, not everything needs to be cartoonish when it's adapted from a comic book. There are comic books which are not cartoonish. And so when you have something being called cartoonish, it can have negative connotations to it. But I think that this was done in a way which was good. I think it was good. I think the message here is pretty decent. You know, it's basically your day-to-day actions dictate who you are as a person, not where you come from, not what your parents want for you. You are greater than the sum of your parts, basically. You are the sum of your parts, your experiences in the world, and how you choose to interact. You are infallible. You're not infallible. But you can become a better person day by day. That's effectively the message, and that kindness is good. And I think it conveys it in a really nice way. I like this movie. Like, I don't have any issues with it at all. I would absolutely watch another one of these. Again, like, I myself am a massive proponent of these superhero movies just dying. Like, I am kind of sick of them overall. But would I watch another one of these? Yeah, I would, actually. And I wouldn't begrudge paying for it, you know? There's a lot of movies where I'm watching the runtime and I'm watching my clock on my watch and I'm like, oh, goodness me, like this is, come on now. This had a really good pace. The music was pretty decent all in. Overall, does it feel like a James Gunn film? I actually think he was toned down quite a lot for this. I think, you know, James Gunn with Marvel was significantly more James Gunny. Believe it or not, I thought this wasn't that James Gunny. So take from that what you will, whether you think that's good or bad. But I had a good time with it. I didn't think it was bad. I would say go out and watch it. I think you'll have a good time with it. Certainly, I didn't have an issue with it. But I will say this caveat: you're either going to love it or hate it, or just find it, yeah, all right. But I think most people will side on that love it or hate it. I'm kind of indifferent to a lot of these movies these days anyway. But I enjoyed it. So take from that what you will. You know, I'm not going to say strong recommendation or any of that kind of nonsense. I would say go out and watch it though. See if you liked it. I don't know. I don't begrudge the price of admission. Anyway, there you go. Leave your thoughts down below if you've seen this film. Take care. Bye-bye now.